Hey, 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 welcome back to the channel. If you were scrolling through social media not too long ago, and suddenly your entire timeline was flooded with photos of a platinum blonde man in a black blazer with absolutely nothing underneath, yeah, that was not a dream. That was very much real. And that was Park Jimin. Today we're talking about one single moment that genuinely shook the fashion world. And not just the ARMY world, but the entire global fashion industry. Jimin showed up at Paris Fashion Week, and what he did there left absolutely everyone stunned. So buckle up, because this video is going to be long, detailed, and packed with facts you probably didn't know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's go? Before we dive into that epic moment, let's rewind a little. Park Jimin. That name probably needs no introduction for most of you, but for anyone just discovering him, Jimin is one of the 7 members of BTS, the South Korean boy band that has fundamentally changed the global music industry. They are not just your average K-pop idols. BTS is an unprecedented cultural phenomenon that has rewritten the rules of what a music act can be. Now, what makes this Paris Fashion Week moment so extraordinarily special is the context surrounding it. Jimin had just completed his mandatory military service in South Korea in June 2025. For those unfamiliar, South Korea requires all male citizens to serve approximately 18 months in the military. During that period, the BTS members entered service one by one, and the group's activities came to a temporary halt. After months completely away from the public eye, Paris Fashion Week in October 2025 became Jimin's first major public appearance since his discharge. And as we're about to break down in full detail, Jimin didn't just show up, he completely owned the night. There's one more thing you need to know going in. Jimin is the global ambassador for Dior, one of the most prestigious fashion houses on the planet. His relationship with Dior is not something recent. It's a long-standing partnership that speaks volumes about how highly the global fashion industry values him. The story actually started creating buzz even before Jimin set foot in Paris. On September 30th, 2025, Jimin was spotted at Incheon International Airport in Seoul, preparing to depart for France. And as always, this is Jimin, so nothing about it was going to be ordinary. He wore a partially unbuttoned beige shirt, paired with wide-leg black trousers and a large bag casually slung over one shoulder. But what stopped everyone in their tracks was his hair, platinum blonde. Full, lush, and shining under the airport lights. Yes, the platinum blonde hair immediately sent the internet into a frenzy. This was a dramatic departure from the short buzz cut he had worn throughout his military service. Add a pair of clear-framed Gentle Monster ABA02 glasses to the mix, and Jimin looked less like a human being and more like the main character of a science fiction novel who also happens to be impeccably stylish. Photos and videos from the airport went viral within minutes. ARMY fans across the globe immediately began speculating. If he looked this incredible at the airport, what on earth was he going to do in Paris? The answer? Far more than anyone could have imagined. Alright, here it is. The moment you've been waiting for. October 1st, 2025. The Tuileries Garden, Paris. 2:30 in the afternoon, local time. This was not just any fashion show. The Dior Spring/Summer 2026 Women's Wear Show was already a historic event in its own right. It was Jonathan Anderson's debut women's wear collection as creative director of Dior. Anderson, previously known as the lead designer at Loewe, had been the subject of intense fashion industry conversation since his appointment. The entire fashion world had been holding its breath to see what he would bring to one of the most iconic French houses. So picture this. One of the most anticipated fashion shows in recent memory, with some of the biggest names in the world seated in the front row, in a slightly overcast and cool Paris afternoon. And then Jimin walked in. He was wearing a black Dior blazer with sharp satin lapels and structured shoulders, with nothing underneath. The jacket hung open, framing his physique in a way that was equal parts daring and refined. He paired it with low-rise flared black leather trousers and matching Chelsea boots, finishing the look with layered rings, statement earrings, and a delicate gold necklace. His platinum blonde hair caught the light, and his face? Effortlessly, annoyingly perfect, as always. The moment Jimin entered the venue, something remarkable happened. The rows of guests, photographers, and industry professionals who were supposed to be immune to celebrity, people who see A-listers every single week, suddenly lost their composure entirely. Dozens, then hundreds of smartphones shot into the air simultaneously. The sound of camera shutters was relentless. There were gasps. There were shouts. People pushed forward trying to get a closer shot. Outside the venue, fans who had been lining up since dawn absolutely erupted when they caught sight of him. They had come prepared, with balloons, banners, and even billboard trucks parked along the surrounding streets. Jimin's face plastered on them in enormous scale. Inside, Jimin took his seat in the front row, the most coveted real estate at any fashion show, alongside other prominent guests. But again, no matter who else was in that room, every single eye was on him. Actor Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was also in attendance that afternoon, mentioned in passing that he had already had his coffee to prepare for the early call time. The early morning. The busy day ahead. But what truly made that day unforgettable for everyone there? That was obvious, the presence of Jimin. It would not be an exaggeration to say the internet exploded that night. On X, formerly Twitter, Jimin almost instantly became the most mentioned artist in the world following his appearance. Hashtags like hashtag Jimin'S Dior, hashtag DiorSS26, and hashtag Prince Jimin began trending simultaneously across dozens of countries. Fan reactions poured in from every corner of the globe. One fan wrote, "I literally had tears in my eyes when he came out. I couldn't believe he was almost naked. I cannot wait for their concert." Another posted, "He minded his own business for months, chose to wear his outfit that way, went blonde, stole the show just by existing, posted only one photo on Instagram, and never looked back. Oh Jimin, the one and only it boy." And yet another. Nothing to dispute anymore. He's the one who made the most impact at PFW 2025, and no matter what media outlet you go to, he's at the top of their lists. Fashion journalists from the world's most respected publications scrambled to cover the moment. From WWD to Vogue, from Instinct magazine to Outlook Luxe, everyone was talking about Jimin. But what elevated this beyond fan excitement alone was the validation that came from the industry itself. Leading fashion analytics firm Launchmetrics released a report confirming that Jimin generated over $33.8 million in media impact value, or MIV, for Dior through his single appearance at Paris Fashion Week 2025. That figure made him the K-pop idol with the highest MIV across all 4 major fashion weeks combined: Paris, Milan, London, and New York, for the entire season. For context, MIV is a metric that quantifies the media exposure a person generates for a brand. That $33.8 million is not money paid to Jimin. It is the calculated value of all the media coverage, social media posts, news articles, and public attention that his presence created for Dior. And that is not a small number. It outpaced many Hollywood celebrities by a significant margin. To put it in perspective, Blackpink's Jisoo, who also attended the same Dior show, generated $30.5 million in MIV, a remarkable figure in its own right, yet still beneath Jimin's. Jennifer Lawrence generated $7.5 million. Mikey Madison $4.8 million. Greta Lee $3.7 million. Jimin was operating on a completely different level. At this point, a fair question is, why? Why Jimin? Why does every single one of his appearances generate this kind of seismic response? Let's break it down. The timing of this appearance was nothing short of perfect. It was Jimin's first major comeback after months of military service, during which he had been almost entirely absent from public life. Fans had been holding their breath for months. When he finally reappeared, and reappeared in the most jaw-dropping way possible, the reaction was multiplied tenfold by sheer emotion. This wasn't just a fashion show appearance. For millions of people around the world, it was a reunion, and reunions hit differently. Then there was the fashion choice itself. Bold and exactly right. Jimin did not play it safe. A blazer with no shirt, flared leather trousers, platinum blonde hair. These are choices that could go very wrong on the wrong person. But on Jimin, carried with that particular confidence and ease he seems to possess naturally, it was flawless. Fashion has never just been about clothes. It's about how you inhabit them. And Jimin has always been a master of that art. Beyond the individual, there is also the undeniable force of the ARMY community. The BTS fanbase is not a typical celebrity following. ARMY is an organized, passionate, and extraordinarily active global community that moves with purpose on social media. The moment Jimin stepped out, army mobilized around the world, sharing photos and videos, creating threads, pushing hashtags. The wave of attention they generate is nearly impossible for any other artist to match. Then there's Jimin's established reputation and track record within the fashion world. He is not a newcomer here. As Dior's global ambassador, he has consistently proven his ability to deliver genuine, measurable value for the brand. Every appearance comes backed by numbers that validate the partnership. The fashion world already knew what Jimin was worth. Paris Fashion Week 2025 simply reminded everyone else. And finally, perhaps most importantly, there is the charisma that simply cannot be taught or manufactured. There is something about the way Jimin moves, the way he meets a camera lens, the way he simply exists in a room, that makes it impossible to look away. That magnetism is real. The fashion world prizes it above almost everything else. What makes this story even more extraordinary is that Jimin was far from the only BTS member making waves during the 2025 to 2026 Fashion Week season. All 7 members of BTS had now completed their mandatory military service, and they returned to the world in a way that shook multiple industries simultaneously. Jin represented Gucci at Milan Fashion Week on September 24, 2025, generating $9.7 million in earned media value and landing as the second most impactful influencer overall at Milan. Jungkook appeared at New York Fashion Week for Calvin Klein with $7.44 million in EMV, becoming the single most impactful influencer at NYFW. RM attended the Bottega Veneta show in Milan, generating $3.11 million in EMV. V, also known as Taeyong, made a stunning appearance at the Celine Spring 2026 show in Paris just days after Jimin, generating an enormous $13.1 million in EMV and ranking as the #1 musician and top K-pop act of Paris Fashion Week overall. Jhope also attended the same Dior show as Jimin, despite being Louis Vuitton's global ambassador, present simply as a celebrated guest. And Suga remains tied to Valentino. This was not coincidence. This was BTS returning, not just to music, but to the entire landscape of global pop culture. They are not merely musicians. They are a creative economic engine whose influence ripples across industries worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Reports from analytics firms including Lefty and Carla Otto confirmed that BTS as a collective dominated the EMV rankings across every major fashion city during this season. No other group of artists, from any genre or any country, came close to replicating what BTS accomplished at the Fashion Weeks of 2025. It is fascinating to watch how the fashion industry, an industry famous for its high standards and its carefully cultivated cool detachment, has responded to Jimin. WWD, Women's Wear Daily, one of the oldest and most respected fashion publications in the world, wrote about how throngs of fans had lined up outside since dawn just for a glimpse of the star. Balloons, banners, and billboard trucks lined the avenues around the venue. A publication that has been covering fashion for over a century doesn't get easily impressed. Yet, even WWD acknowledged that Jimin was the gravitational center of the entire event. Instinct magazine captured the contrast with dry humor, noting that Paris was cold, wet, and frankly miserable that day. Yet Jimin somehow managed to turn the soggy French capital into something resembling a heat wave purely through the force of his confidence and presence. Even the other guests in attendance, fashion editors, designers, Hollywood actresses, were visibly struck. Phones were discreetly raised. Whispers traveled through the rows. Everyone in that room understood they were watching the defining moment of the evening, perhaps of the entire week. Now, after all of this, after Paris Fashion Week 2025, after the record-breaking MIV numbers, after the internet meltdown, one enormous question hangs in the air. What comes next? The answer is incredibly exciting. BTS is preparing their first full group comeback album since 2022. The first complete album to feature all 7 members since they went their separate ways for military service. Reports indicate the members had already traveled to Los Angeles earlier in 2025 to begin working on the project, with the album scheduled for release in spring 2026. Think about what that means. After an appearance like Jimin's at Paris Fashion Week, which alone crashed timelines, broke records, and dominated global media, Now imagine all 7 members of BTS arriving together. The concerts, the album, a worldwide promotional campaign. The cumulative force of everything BTS represents hitting the world simultaneously after years of waiting. One fan comment online put it with remarkable clarity. If Jimin alone can break the internet just by showing up shirtless, imagine what happens when all 7 of them arrive at once. The world might very well implode. Honestly, they might be right. For Jimin individually, his journey as a global fashion and cultural icon is clearly just beginning, or rather, resuming with more momentum than ever before. His partnership with Dior continues to grow. His value to the brand, as proven by that $33.8 million MIV figure, is beyond question. And his gift for making every single appearance feel like an event ensures that whenever his name comes up in a fashion context, the entire world stops and pays attention. So there you have it, the full story behind the moment that shook the world. Park Jimin at Paris Fashion Week, leaving everyone from longtime fans to veteran fashion industry professionals equally breathless. From the platinum blonde debut at Incheon Airport to the iconic shirtless blazer at the Tuileries Garden. From trending on X to generating the highest MIV of any K-pop idol across 4 fashion capitals. From an emotional comeback moment to the announcement of the BTS group album the whole world has been waiting for. This wasn't just fashion news. It was proof that some people are simply born to make the world pay attention, and Park Jimin is absolutely one of them. If you enjoyed this video, drop a comment below. Which moment from Paris Fashion Week 2025 hit you the hardest? Was it the outfit, the fan reactions, or those absolutely insane MIV numbers? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming. Because with all of BTS back and a new album on the horizon, we have a lot more to talk about together. See you in the next one. Bye.